Good afternoon and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Formula One in 1950. It is time for the Pau Grand Prix, the first round of the season in a total amount of 12 rounds. Here we have a look at the 1950 calendar where we can see all the races where we'll race it this season. All the 7 circuits of the official 1950 F1 season are used, plus 5 additional circuits where non-championship rounds were held this season. We will start the season at the circuit of Pau, and here are the details of this circuit. A 2.769 kilometers long street circuit through the Pyrenees city. We will race a total amount of 12 laps in Assetto Corsa, with 23 drivers on the grid for this race. And as you can read, the circuit has long been considered as an even greater challenge than the circuit of Monaco. The 1950 Pau Grand Prix was one of the non-championship rounds that we will include in this fantasy season. And let's have a look at the top 20 of the starting grid for this race. Juan Manuel Fangio will start from pole position, followed by the Ferrari of Luigi Villoresi. His teammate Dorino Serafini will start from 3rd place, with local hero Raymond Sommer starting in 4th with his Talbot Lago. Fellow countryman Louis Rosier will start the race from the 3rd row together with Tullio de Grafenried. Future world champion Alberto Ascari will start on 8th, next to the Monegasque Louis Chiron in his Maserati. Nino Farina will start from 9th, with Robert Manzin right next to him. At the 6th row then contains the 2 Talbot Lagos of Philippe Tancelin and Yves Giraud-Cabantus, and we will see another Talbot Lago in 13th place with Henri Louveau behind the wheel. In 15th is the only Cooper on the grid of Harry Schell, just a bit faster than motorcyclist Nello Pagani in 16th. 17th place then will be for Pierre Levert, ahead of his fellow countryman Eugene Chabut. Charles Pozzi will start the race from 19th, with Prince Bira of Siam on the 20th place on the grid. We are all ready for the new season to start. Who is going to take the first win of the season? Will it be the dominant Alfa Romeo? We will know any moment. And it's lights out and away we go. Fangio seems to have a good start, but Villoresi is already trying to get alongside him. Dorino Serafini is also trying to attack the 2nd place of Villoresi as we go into turn 1. Especially the first 3 drivers are very quick from the start, as it seems like Serafini is trying to get past his teammate in turn 2. Let's have a look then. Yes, it is Fangio, Serafini, and Villoresi now in that order coming out of turn 2. Now getting uphill on a long straight at the boulevard. Can Fangio hold off the 2 Ferraris behind him? Going into turn 3 now, and oh, it looks like Villoresi is trying to get his 2nd place back, and yes, he has it back. And we can also see that Louis Rosier and Alberto Ascari are now in 4th and 5th, ahead of Sommer and de Grafenried, who seem to have had a bad start. Public at the side of the road are enjoying that Fangio is still in the lead. Now it seems like he's pulling a gap off the 2 Ferraris as they go into a long left-hander, which was very tricky and dangerous for the drivers back then, followed by a long right-hander before we will go to the first chicane of this circuit. Another tricky chicane for the drivers here, but Fangio seems to manage it well as he goes into the 3rd sector of this beautiful circuit. The Ferraris can't hold by his pace, but it is so tricky to overtake on this very tight street circuit. Going into the hairpin now as we still follow the man on pole position, the only Argentine driver on the grid for this race, but he is definitely one of the most talented of his era, driving behind the wheel of the Alfa Romeo 158, a really dominant car during this season. And Villoresi had a very warm moment there, going wide and almost hitting the barrier coming out of the 2nd chicane. But he keeps position. It is Fangio in 1st, Villoresi in 2nd, and Serafini in 3rd after the first lap of this race. And wow, we can already tell that Alfa Romeo is a real quick car to deal with for the Ferraris. Especially with someone as Fangio behind the wheel, it will be a tough challenge for his Italian rivals. A replay from the start then, and we are on board with Dorino Serafini in the Ferrari. A very good start from the Italian, placing his car on the inside of the first corner. He then forces his teammate wide going into turn 2, and we can see there his overtake coming out of turn 2. Fangio seems to take advantage from this battle and is directly pulling a gap between him and the Ferraris going uphill towards turn 3. And there, I think we can see Villaresi will pass him again on the inside. There, and he'll take back second place in the race. Here the action scene from the Ferrari of Villaresi. And there, closely behind Fangio, we can see Villaresi take over second place again from Serafini. What happened right behind the first three? We are now on board with Louis Rosier in the Talbot Lager. It seems like his teammate Summer doesn't get well from the start there. Rosier then coming up to speed, going towards the second corner. He has the inside advantage over there, and he goes quite easily past his teammate to take fourth position. Alberto Astari then. He must have had a really good start with his Ferrari, starting from 7th on the grid. Let's see how he did that. He also goes max attack in that second corner. That is really the corner to overtake here. To pass Tulo de Graffenried there and take 6th position. It seems then like because Samar went wide, he can't get quickly enough up to speed. Ascari is taking advantage from that situation and then passes Summer on the uphill straight. A really good start from the Italian. And we can say that it is a really bad start for de Graffenried, as we are watching now how Farina overtakes the Swiss Baron for 8th position. Here it seems like de Graffenried tries to take back position from Farina on the inside of turn 4, but he is just missing the speed the Alfa Romeo has and going towards turn 5. Farina has definitively passed de Graffenried for good. And what has happened here then, as we go on board with Pierre Levey in the Talbot Lago. Levey now in very last position, so something had happened there. And that is an unlucky crash indeed coming out from the chicane, and it seems like the race is over here for Levey. Here the crash showed from the car of Harry Schell, and you can see the Talbot Lago of Leveg driving in front of him going into the chicane. A very nasty one indeed. And Schell can just avoid his car coming out from the chicane. Another shot of the crash, but then showed from the outside. We are now going into lap 3, as we are watching Summer in 6th position now, going towards that very deciding second corner. Ooh, Summer is going a bit wide there again, and it is Farina now that takes over 6th position from him. Meanwhile, Farina's teammate Fangio is still in the lead, although Villaresi seems very fast now in that first sector. The Ferrari driver is trying to close the gap between him and the leader, and Fangio is definitely under pressure now. We really get to see the most beautiful side of the city of Pau now. And it is really a shame that this circuit never counted as a real F1 championship race. The last Formula One Grand Prix here was held in 1963, but the circuit is nowadays still used for the WTCC and European Formula 3 race. You can really see Villoresi closing in on him going towards the hairpin. The Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo seem very similar this year on race pace. Let's see if the Italian can overtake him. Really slowly going towards the main straight again. Fangio going a little bit wide there, and ooh no, Fangio has crashed. Fangio is out. The leader of the race has crashed coming out of the last chicane, and it seems like it's game over for El Maestro. What a shame for Fangio, as we go on board with him now. Under pressure of Villoresi coming out of the hairpin, Fangio makes a small mistake over there, and coming out of the chicane, he just runs a bit short of road. He then crashes into the barrier and almost takes Villoresi out as well. But it is the Italian now in first position with his Ferrari. Villoresi sees it all happen right in front of him. It is a real blast for Alfa Romeo because the Ferraris are now in the first, second, and third overall. It all depends on Farina now. But for Fangio, this is a costly mistake for the championship. Going into lap 4 now, and Ascari tries the overtake on Louis Rosier. The Ferrari really fast there on the main straight, and coming towards turn 2. Rosier has no chance to defense his position. Ascari is really on fire now and can already smell his podium. Further behind, we can see an all-French battle between the many Talbot Lagos here and the Simca Gordini of Robert Manzon, trying to make an overtake on his fellow countryman Philippe Etanceline. Now coming towards the chicane where Fangio crashed, and a crash. It has happened again, and in the same corner. Now Etanceline is out, and it seems like Manson is too. What a lot of retirement so far. Here they crash again from the outside. The two Frenchmen just didn't give each other room going into the chicane, and trying to go through there side by side were just doomed to crash there. The battle in front continues, and it is still surprisingly close between the front runners. Villoresi is in the lead ahead of his teammates Serafini and Ascari, but Rosier and Farina are also still in the mix. Here we can see Serafini going through the second corner, and it looks like Ascari is putting real pressure on his teammate now. Serafini brakes early into turn 3 and thereby slows down Ascari, and it is Farina now who tries to attack both of them, going on the inside of Ascari there. And Ascari is really trying everything to not let him pass. Now they are going to turn 4 with Ascari now on the inside, and he defends beautifully there, holding a Farina for the time being. And now Serafini seems to be in the danger zone, having no speed at the exit of turn 4, and Ascari quickly closing in on him. The two drivers now go side by side through this fast left-hander, and this is an excellent drive from Ascari. Now getting the inside of turn 6 to overtake his teammate there. What a brilliant drive. Ascari now in second position, and surely the Italian is thirsty for more. The Cooper of Harry Schell can't hold up against the much stronger powered Talbot Lagos. He tries to hold them up, but is clearly under pressure now. It's a shame that he can't prove himself in a better car, because the Cooper is just way too slow. How long can Schell hold his rivals up? It seems like a question of time, but where you gonna overtake on this circuit? It gives so little opportunities for the drivers behind that they just have to wait for their chance. But the longer the wait, the bigger the gap to the guys ahead. Here in the hairpin, one of the Talbot Lagos is trying the overtake on Schell, going on the inside there, but Schell stays right next to him coming out of the hairpin. There, one of the Talbot Lagos takes too much risk. It has been said before, you can't go through that chicane with two cars. And it is Eugene Chaboud who has crashed now. Chaboud is just too impatient here. First trying to overtake Schell down the hairpin. Schell gets a better exit there and defends well going towards the hairpin. Chabot tries then to overtake him again, going into the chicane, but takes too much risk there and just misses his corner completely. Here seen from the Cooper of Harry Schell. He has been involved in a lot of incidents, but all of them were not his fault. Ooh, Schell also got a bit wide there because of Chabot, and goes off the same way that Fangio did. It's still a Ferrari podium at front. However, slowly but surely Farina is closing in on Serafini, who is currently in third position. With Villoresi and Ascari already far ahead, Serafini just misses the pace, and now has to defend against the only remaining Alfa Romeo in the field. You can see there is a whole train of cars behind the Ferrari now. That is just how hard it is to overtake here. The best options for Farina are in turn 2, 4, and maybe the hairpin of turn 10, but the Italian really has to be patient, because we have seen a lot of drivers becoming impatient and crashing out of the race already. Farina is patient and waits with the overtake in turn 4. For the time being, Serafini still holds his podium with just a few laps to go in this race. Towards the casino then, as we see that Louis Rosier tries to put some pressure on Farina behind, although he is driving the much slower Talbot Lago. Serafini was crowned as the European motorcycle champion in 1939, starting his first Formula One Grand Prix after the Second World War in 1947. However, he never stood on the podium before, so keeping his third position from Farina is so important for him. Going down the hairpin, and maybe Farina will try the overtake here. He's getting closer now, but it is still not enough, and Serafini keeps defending very well. Villoresi, meanwhile, is already beginning with his 9th lap, with Ascari 5 seconds behind. Serafini holds up the rest of the field, because they are losing a lot of time to the frontrunners in the last 2 laps. Behind Serafini, we see Farina in 4th, Rosier in 5th, Sommer in 6th, De Graaf and Reed in 7th, and Louis Caron in 8th going over the start-finish line. There are still 4 laps to go, so everything is still possible here in the midfield. Louveau is on the inside of Cabantus, but he stays on his side and will now have the inside of turn 4, trying to force Louveau wide there. The 2 Frenchmen keeping it really tight going through turn 4. And it seems like Louveau has a small advantage on the exit there. The 2 remain side by side going towards the casino, and what a beautiful action from Louveau there on the inside. He forces Cabantus to go wide there, almost going off over the sidewalk, and now he has passed his teammate fighting for the last points that will be awarded this race. Villoresi began his last lap of the race, but in the battle for third, it is still mighty close between Serafini and Farina. Serafini still defends his third place like a lion, and with just 1 lap to go, there aren't many opportunities left for the Alfa driver. Can he snitch the third place away just before the finish? We are going to the main straight, and this is without a doubt the best opportunity that Farina will get. Turn 2 has to be the turn to overtake, so he should already be lining up now. But Serafini will also know that and try to hold the inside line from Farina. Here they come towards turn 2. Farina on the inside there. Serafini can't hold the ideal line, and yes, he did it. Farina has passed Serafini, and the dream of 3 Ferraris on the podium is over, unless Serafini can try to take back the position within the next 2 corners. And he is already trying to get on the inside of Farina in turn 3. A very aggressive move there from Serafini, but now he will have the outside into turn 4. Will he get a better exit? Farina on the inside there, as the 2 almost collide, giving each other just millimeters in this very heated battle. But it is Farina that comes out as the winner of the 2 in 3rd position. Serafini just lost his podium with half a lap to go. A great drive from Farina, starting in ninth and fighting himself all up to the podium. He will score important points for the championship, there where his teammate Fangio will end up with 0 after the opening round. How important will that be in this 1950 championship battle? For Villoresi, this Grand Prix couldn't have been much better. He is going through the last corners now toward the finish line. A great drive from the Italian, who was never threatened after Fangio's retirement anymore. And there he comes. Luigi Villoresi wins the Pau Grand Prix for Ferrari. Ascari finishes in second place, 6 seconds behind his teammate, and from 7th place on the grid it is also a great drive from him. And now also the rest of the field is closing into the finish line. Farina takes the last spot on the podium ahead of Serafini, who had to defend against Louis Rosier in these last few corners. Rosier will take 5th position. And here are the final results then. A whole Italian podium with Villoresi, Ascari, and Farina on the first 3 spots. Serafini, who just misses out on his very first podium, but does take the 4th place ahead of Rosier in the Talbot log. De Graffenried just overtook Sommer on the very last lap to become 6th in the standings, while Louveau did the exact same thing in the battle for 8th place with Louis Schirra. Yves Giraud-Caventus is the last of the drivers to score a point, while the point for fastest lap is being given to race winner Villoresi. A total of 17 drivers of the 23 that started finished the race, with Juan Manuel Fangio, of course, as the main retirement. We will be back in just a few weeks to see how this championship will continue, with the Paris Grand Prix on the 30th of April 1950 on the program. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully we see you next time.